Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to teach you how to be more self-confident through Think and Grow Rich. This book's the best. We're going to talk about chapter 3, faith, and they give you a play-by-play on how to be more self-confident. That will be towards the end. I love the first paragraph of this chapter. It is so good. He says, faith is a head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into the spiritual equivalent, and then transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. So if you're a religious person, let's say you're the type of person who prays. Some people pray repeatedly. That's why in Islam, they literally get onto their mat and pray multiple times a day, because they can transmute their spiritual energy out into something else, right? Very, very vital, very important, because when you sit and pray, that's why a lot of people pray before bed, right? Basically, what this book is telling you is not to go follow Christ or anything. It's just saying, hey, what you repeat all the time will become auto-suggested to yourself, right? And that's where faith comes in, because when you have faith, you can do something. When you have faith, you can have something. It will come to you because you sit and you think about it all the time, morning, midday, and night. And that's why in Islam, they sit and pray multiple times a day, because it puts you in touch with that side. In Christianity too, they pray and they sit and in Buddhism, they meditate, right? All these different religions are getting you to do the same thing. So very important that perhaps you're not a religious person, but that you have a spiritual practice, right? You spend some time with yourself to program your own brain, right? Get out of the matrix where everybody's trying to program you and tell you what to do and how to think and who to be, and think and sit by yourself to create the life you want for yourself. Now, how to develop faith is the next part of this. And they say that autosuggestions assumes in the transmutation of desire into the physical, okay? Or monetary equivalent. Namely, faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by a affirmation or repeated instruction to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion. So when they talked about desire in the earlier chapters, like if you missed my last video, go watch it. But when we talked about desires, it became very clear that they wanted us to repeat these instructions. Remember, I said rep it. Always make sure you're repeating what you want out of life. When you're suggesting things, make sure you're the one suggesting it to yourself rather than just on your social media feed or wherever you're at. It's very important that you program your own mind, or you might be susceptible to the goblins and gremlins and witches on the internet. Now, in connection with this, consider again the statement. All thoughts which have been emotionalized, meaning given feeling, and mixed with faith, begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. Only through your feelings do you act a certain way. This is very easy for people to understand if you're an alcoholic, let's say. If you're an alcoholic, you have the feeling that you want to drink. You might know that it's not good. You might love it. You might have faith that you can go get yourself a beer. You might have all these things, but emotionally you're like, ooh, I know that it's going to make me feel good. I can't wait to feel good. Or, people that are always chasing that dragon, and then afterwards, you might feel shame if you don't make sure that these feelings are attached to perhaps your values or what you really want out of life. It's very important that you realize that the emotions of faith, love, and sex, when mixed, so if you have faith, love, or sex mixed with any thought impulse, so if you mix the idea of sex with your impulsive thought, it gives a greater action than any emotion can do singly. And you might not even love the thought, but if you have the impulsive thought and you mix it with sex, you're more likely to act on it. If you have an impulsive thought and you love it, let's say you love drugs, then you will go do it. If you have an impulsive thought and you have faith that you can make it happen, you will go do it, more so than emotion. So when you act a certain way, positive or negative, when you act a certain way and you drop that seed, right, and mixed it with love, faith, or sex, or emotion, right? If you mix it with all of those, or one of those, or a few of those, and you drop one seed, you, without a doubt, will create a plant. that drops more seeds and creates more seeds. If I grow a tomato plant, all I need is one tomato to grow, okay? That's why I love gardening. One tomato grows, and from that one tomato, I can get dozens of seeds. Then I can throw them back out, and more tomato plants will sprout. Sometimes so many more than I actually need that I have to go out into the garden and weed them myself, okay? Because it is so abundant. So when you have positive thought forms that create abundance for you in your life and you seed it, you will create exactly what you're looking for. Now, if you have a negative thought form, something you don't want to do, but you keep acting on it and you keep thinking about it, if you have done this so many times and it's ingrained deeply in your psyche, you essentially need to go down to the root of the tomato plant, dig it out, throw it away, and then for the next probably ever, honestly, after I plant one tomato plant, it's like they just keep coming back. You need to go out and weed it. And it's a lot of work. And if you don't do it, it will grow into a tree and it will produce fruit or whatever it is that you want. So good or bad, if you have this thought that overtakes your mind and you keep feeding it, it will keep blossoming in your garden and it won't stop in your mind and it will keep coming up, and all those unconscious thoughts and seeds that you planted can get triggered at any moment. A little bit of water and bam, 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 bam. And you don't even have to water your own garden. Sometimes the rain comes and it just waters it for you, right? Sometimes, your neighbor leaves their hose on too long and it floods one yard to the other. And that's the same idea as like social media and TV, and all these things are coming into your mind, and subconsciously you might not even realize that you are absorbing and taking in nutrients that feed that subconscious thing that you don't even want to grow anymore, that vegetable that you don't even like, but you accidentally planted it once and now it always comes up when you least expect it. And it's your job to deal with it and go to the garden and take care of it. And when you have other seeds to take care of, when you have other things you're working on, this becomes incredibly difficult. Now, here's the self-confidence formula that I know you guys are waiting for. So let's get into it. First, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistence, continuous action toward its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. So that's the first thing you need to realize. You have a definite purpose. You demand yourself to be persistent. You keep acting towards it, and you promise that you will render such action. Basically, he says over and over again, name the purpose, do it, do it, do it, in 3 different ways. He's always repeating himself in this book. I love this book because he's always repeating himself. Then, second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical actions and gradually transform them into the physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become. It's not who you are now. The person I intend to become, by thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that image. So you might not be who you want to be. You might be at rock bottom. But again, that's why I say this is the perfect foundation, because once you're at rock bottom, a lot of plants don't really grow on rocks. So rock bottom is a pretty darn good foundation. So start there. My dominating thoughts of my mind will reproduce themselves in outward physical actions and gradually transform themselves into the physical reality. So I will concentrate my thoughts 30 minutes a day on thinking about who I want to be, not who you are, who you intend to become. Now, third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object of it, the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. So again, he's just telling you that whatever your mind is thinking about and desires, you will seek it to express it out in the real world. So be careful what you're admiring online, because before you know it, you might end up with the fake nose that maybe you didn't even want, because you are practicing the attainment and focusing on that for more than 10 minutes a day. So very important to consider this. Now, fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. What's he saying? He's saying gaslight yourself. Gaslight yourself until you believe that you can have it, and suddenly, boom, it will appear. Fifth, I fully recognize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Let's repeat that again. I fully recognize that no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transactions which do not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because, so again, I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can't bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and in myself. So I just love that. Those are all the things you could do. Basically, he just tells you over and over again, think about what you want. Do what you want. Focus everything on becoming confident and believing you could do it. Remember that desire, that faith, that all of it is so important. I love it, love it, love it. So when you're having an impulsive thought, whether it's positive or negative, that's up to you. Okay, or it's actually not up to you. Sometimes, I have impulsive thoughts where I'm like, slap that person, they need to shut up. But I'm not actually gonna slap them. Maybe once or twice. But generally speaking, I'm never slapping anybody, right? In a general sense. But the more you feed that impulsive thought, the more likely it is to come to fruition. So be very careful with the thoughts that you seek to revisit in your life and attain in your life. It is such an important discipline, because whatever it is you're meditating on constantly will suck your energy so fast and will have you in a chokehold. Whether it's, again, as he says in here, which he repeats a million times, but I think it is worth repeating, that your brain makes, the subconscious mind, better said, makes no distinction between constructive and destructive thought impulses. So if you have something that will ruin your life and you keep focusing on that instead of what it is you do want, you will you will impulsively ruin your life. And you keep in mind that those impulsive thoughts, you created a tree, okay? You created a huge tree that's just dropping acorns everywhere. And sometimes you need to go to the oak tree and start hacking at that oak tree, because you didn't realize, but that oak tree could be really destructive to your life, to your family, to your community. And if you don't dig out that oak tree, and then every time one of those stupid acorns hits the floor and starts sprouting, it's your job to kill it again and pull it out from the root, because every time that you let a thought come over you and you accidentally water it, you are more likely to relive that situation than you would have been if you destroyed the thought pattern completely. So do not plant seeds on accident. And if you do, remember, it is your job and only yours to get to the root of it, dig it out, and even then realize that you still will be dropping seeds. And sometimes these acorns are so lasting that these traumas will go for generations and generations and generations, when in reality it could have ended with you if you had the courage to grab a shovel and dig at the root of the problem. But that's what I'll leave you guys with today. I hope that you remember that rock bottom is a perfect place for a rock solid foundation.